Hey guys, welcome back to the Bucks Students Union podcast, or whatever it's called. Have you found the name for it yet?
Bucks Students Podcast.
Podcast.
Cast.
Brilliant.
Episode 3.
Yep, we've done 3 already. Wow.
Oh,
God.
insane.
Time flies when you're having fun, huh? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're staying hydrated as well?
I'm so hydrated with my water.
Fantastic. Hydration. It's great to be back. We've changed the setting as well. We've now got my brother plant.
Matching green.
Matchy, which is very exciting. And today we're doing a little talk about mental health within Bucks Students Union and Bucks New University as a whole. It's a very broad topic, so obviously not everything's going to get covered. However, we're just going to use this as an opportunity to talk about our experiences, stuff that the union can provide, and just, a bit of generic chit-chat. Well, first of all, I want to know, how you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good.
It's been a busy few days.
Yeah.
Had a wedding, which was really lovely.
At a wedding, wow.
Yeah, it was great. Did a shark dance.
Was it your cousin, sister?
Oh, it was my best friend.
Best friend?
My best friend.
Yeah.
We see each other every once a month. We try to.
Yeah.
But it was quite nice having a whole day with us.
Yeah.
No, that's been a busy week.
Busy, yeah. Keeping busy.
Yeah, and yourself?
Myself, I'm doing well, thank you. Weather's taken a bit of a turn. We've had quite a decent few days worth of sunshine.
Yeah.
And now it's just started blowing all of a sudden, just full of wind. Like, I was trying to sleep last night and I was scared the roof was going to cave in because there was literally so much bloody wind. I'm like, it's kind of off topic. But yeah, I'm doing well, a bit tired, but who isn't nowadays? While you were at a wedding, the rest of the officers were at a fun conference, the Southern Unions Conference, which was being held at Surrey this year, Surrey Student Union, which is in Guildford. It was a wonderful venue. If anyone from Surrey is watching, shout out to you. You've done a very good job. Thank you for the hospitality. The food as well was amazing. A lot of interesting little sessions as well that was being held. Quite informative. And yeah, I want to know actually, Ian, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
He's great.
He's great. He's the best.
He's the best. Yeah.
Even if you think someone seems a little bit off, just a quick, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I'm okay. Like, are you sure you're okay? Sometimes I might open up, sometimes I leave it alone and it'll be fine. But just knowing that you're there for them can be a lot. It can mean a lot. It seems like such a small action, but sometimes a little goes a long way.
Yeah. And that's the thing as well, is that at the end of the day, it costs nothing to be thoughtful, a little bit kind, and it can really make someone's day. Sometimes people, they have quiet days, they don't really talk to many people, they can get in their own head quite a lot, and just even a nice compliment or just how are you, that can be the light at the end of the tunnel for some people. So always keep that in mind. Mental health is a term. What's your experiences with it, dealing with it throughout uni? Because to tell the truth, uni, it's a completely different experience to regular life. Coming into uni, it can be very daunting for a lot of people. First time away from home, away from loved ones, parents, a lot of new people, a lot of new experiences. And to navigate that, especially at quite a young age, it can be quite a lot. So throughout uni, how have you found things?
So I don't move away from home as such, I just came in every day. So I think my sense of that journey is a lot different to other people, but I had the stresses of travelling, not being able to interact as much as I wanted to. And obviously it's finding the people on the courses, because obviously like my cohort was very, very small. There's only about 3 of us that graduated. And that's just because by the end of my first year, people either moved on to different universities, moved to different courses and things like that. So having that little dynamic was there. Obviously it's the strain of, so I did an extra year at 6th form, so I was actually older than some of my peers. And yeah, I'm kind of just, I'd actually dropped off quite a lot of my schoolwork because of how far ahead I'd got. So a lot of it I just wasn't doing. So by the time I'd finished 6th form into uni, I wasn't prepared for the dynamic of doing almost next to nothing to doing a lot. And yeah, I think it's just navigating all the different dynamics, so all the different groups of people, this sudden responsibility, like commuting, yeah, just learning all of that, and obviously putting that alongside my part-time work and things like that, because I used to work, I had 2 jobs at the time, and obviously coming to uni, just, yeah, just planning my life around that as such.
I see, yeah, and that's a heavy thing as well, to be not only doing full-time study, but to also balance a job on the side. And you know, there's people that have multiple jobs, which kudos to you, because I couldn't do that. It's tough work, because to try and like put your energy into these different lifestyles, I guess, because when you're at work, I feel like you adopt a different version of yourself. You know, you're not the same you as you are at home or as you are in the classroom. You are work mode, and you have to sort of adapt to whatever work you're doing. So if you're being a waiter or a waitress, you'll have to have really good communication skills. You have to obviously have confidence to go over and talk to people. If you're working behind the till, again, it's just sort of like having knowledge about like what's on the till, prices, numbers. So mentally, it's a lot of work, alongside actually being in an institution where you're learning stuff at the same time. So you're constantly cramming stuff in. It's a lot. Do you have any sort of releases for like when things get too much? Like, do you have any sort of coping mechanisms and things you like to do if it's not too much?
So my biggest one, ironically, is sport. Anyone watched episode 2 realised that I suffer a lot with injuries, such that had an impact on certain things that I did. I used to love running, and that was a really big release for me. Headphones in and just going as far as I could as such. I love to read as well. That's another big one. I do shuffle with that though sometimes. So if I am too tightly wound, I just can't sit and read. And I get frustrated about that as well because I love reading. Even just sitting and writing sometimes. Basically anything that I'm not sat still, which you can argue that reading is, but I'm processing and reading. So the motion of just sitting and just flicking a page, whether that's on my Kindle or on my physical books, it's just things like that, things that take me out of the moment to do something else. Like now I can't run as much. I would go for walks and things like that. Kind of just getting out and seeing the universe, as I like to.
Seeing the universe. Well,
Well,
I mean, there's a lot to see.
There's a lot to see in the universe, but I like to think of it as there's like just going out there, because I have a tendency to get, like I said earlier, get stuck in my own head, and just see things as very much of my colour coded diary. That's how as much as I'd see. So if I get away from that, I can do something else.
Mm. So yeah, it's like the just even the act of being proactive is it's a very sort of fulfilling thing for one's own soul, I'd say. Actually getting out there and interacting with different people, joining a society, joining a sports team, that whole sense of unity is very helpful. And I would say for me, like, genuinely just, I never used to do this, but do as many things as you can that you have any sort of like interest in. So try and find hobbies, discover hobbies, and just like get stuck in. So for example, throughout the years, and I think quite recently actually, I've taken up trying to learn guitar, because I always had pretty big interest in like different types of music and how music makes me feel and stuff like that. And I've always wanted to learn an instrument, and you know, I've never had the opportunity to learn one. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna just be spontaneous. I went on Facebook Marketplace. I bought a £10 acoustic guitar and managed to get some picks after a while. I had to sort of do it without, which kind of hurt. And then every day I just practice a bit, and it's such a wonderful thing, because if you practice every day, you're gonna get used to the feel of it. You're gonna learn for yourself what sounds good, and then you can start like experimenting. And I think that just that sort of having that progression, even if it's something as small as like just learning an instrument, is again very fulfilling. Same thing as well, what I'm doing is I'm trying to learn a language. So I use Duolingo to try and learn Portuguese. It's a very interesting language. Very cool though. And yeah, just every day, just practice a little bit. So yeah, I have music, I have language learning, as well as that I also have like kind of just, I don't know how you describe it, like just very casual hobbies like gaming. Like, you know, I grew up playing video games, and I don't think I'll ever really not play them. I think it's always going to be part of like my DNA in a sense. And it's just a form of release, it's a form of escapism, and that's really important. And some people find escapism in that. Same with movies, same with TV. You know, make a list of films that you want to watch, review them, you know, have like, yeah, movie bucket list, and then like, I don't know, every week, like you can tick one off the list, and then you can see that you're ticking more off the list, and you get even a sense of accomplishment from that. But yeah, just do like as much as you possibly can, get involved as much as you can, and understandably as well, like some people are more shy than others, and that's completely okay. And it's okay to just take your time and take your own pace. Don't just fling yourself into it if you're really uncomfortable. But you will naturally get used to it, I think. You'll naturally get used to being surrounded by people, coming to uni anyway.
Like putting yourself out there as such, to meet people, whether it is with like going to like Freshers Fair and kind of going, hey, that's a really cool thing, I want to kind of be involved to meet people who do that, or like, oh, that group seems kind of cool, I want to speak to them for a bit, or kind of just having that opportunity to sit and chat with some people. It might just be people that you study with, but yeah, being able to find hobbies that you stick with other people as well. It's quite fulfilling in a sense, because you've got those that you can build those relationships. Relationships. The relationships to like balance and thrive, and the ones that you can relate to. Just to help, even like, it's not even like saying like when you move from like home and coming into university, you can still connect those that you have, you can still connect to the people that you had at home. It just looks a little bit different whilst you're studying, and it's kind of just finding that perfect balance of like, okay, we're going to meet on Teams, Zoom, or Skype, or FaceTime, or however you want to do it, this time or this day, we're going to talk about this, and kind of just putting in those routines to make you a bit more secure and safe.
Yeah. And I think a good thing to know as well is that like everyone genuinely is in the same position as you are, especially for newcomers. It is a very daunting experience coming to a new place. Some people have travelled hundreds of miles, I would say thousands, but I think, yeah, thousands. So some people would have travelled a bloody long time. And everyone's nervous, and it's okay. Like, if you can manage to form connections with one another, then you've got a pretty strong foundation, I'd say. In that first week or so, if you can manage to like get yourself out there and to talk to people, then I would say actually the friends in uni are potentially like lifelong friends. You know, because they're the ones, especially like if they're like in halls. So my experience, like, I've lived with the same people in my halls. I was very fortunate to get along with all of them. And they're great, and I still keep in contact with them. And I think, yeah, it's like a lifelong thing. Like, you'll always remember them, you know. They'll always mean a lot. Yeah. And also, I was going to say also, if you are struggling within university, there are services we provide. One of them being the Advice Centre, which is a little office that's, where would you describe where it is?
So we've got two offices for the Advice Centre. You've got the one in Wickham, which is opposite the offices, the student union offices, in High Wycombe, and then in Uxbridge, it's in the office in the Students' Union on the first floor. And so that's just this free service that we offer, confidential advice and support for the numerous different concerns. So that's whether financial, academic, personal.
About accommodation as well, you know, issues relating to your course, even international student issues as well. They're very accommodative.
They're very accommodating
yes.
to many concerns. Like I said, they're very friendly, and they're superb at their job.
Yeah. Yeah, especially Julia. Shout out Julia.
And Tim. And Hayley. Is it Hayley?
Hayley.
Hayley.
Is that the one in Uxbridge?
No, Tim's in Uxbridge.
Oh. Yeah.
Please cut this up.
Yeah, so in essence, there is always someone, one of our team, that's always here to help. Even if you don't really want to go into the advice centre straight away, coming into like the SU offices and like just talking to either me, Bethany, one of the other officers, you know, we may not be experts, but we're human, and we understand, you know, a lot of these issues that people face, and even being there just to listen, you know, can mean a lot to someone. So,
being a Buck student, you do have access to the Advice Centre. You don't have to use it, but it's there if you need it, and like you don't have to speak to them in person. They do online sessions as well. You can just send them an email, and they can signpost you to the best support they can give and advice. Yeah, that is the Bucks Advice Centre. There are some things that you can maybe do yourself. So like for me, like I have a very colourful diary. And that's just how I operate. It's
colour coding.
color coding, like things are like down to like the last like second. Like I operate on a 24-hour, so in my head I operate on a 24-hour clock. Most people just tend to do like 12 hours and go back to 1. I can't do that. And that's how I have things like that, like reflecting on like your days, and that's quite useful as well. So you kind of see like how you are throughout the day, or like just checking with yourself, going, oh, that didn't feel quite all right, and kind of just putting things in place for yourself to make sure you're feeling comfortable in those environments.
Yeah. Actually having a diary is very good as well, like just getting your thoughts out onto paper. I mean, that's one thing that I've used in the past before when like it just gets too much. It genuinely does help when you put thoughts to paper. It doesn't have to be paper, even like notes.
Notes you can do it on
your phone, on your iPad, laptop.
Just as long as you've got that outlet to put things down sometimes, but it's not all in one place.
Yeah, and I would say as well that the outlet doesn't necessarily have to be like word-based. As kind of mentioned before, like the outlet could be something creative. So it could be something to do with music. So letting it out through singing, instruments. If you could do dance. I'd say breakdancing.
Breakdance is still a form of dance. Giving yourself an outlet, like joining like a club and society, for example, that kind of gives you the opportunity away from like academic to do something different. So like I was in musical theatre, I was in football, and they were my outlets away from studying. So I knew that that hour in the day, that hour, 2 hours in a week was just solely on that aspect, rather than, oh, am I going to get my assignment done? Am I going to get this finished? Or I've got to go to work later. It was purely in the moment. That was what it was.
And so in my case as well, so I didn't join any society or sports club for my entire 3 years. But that's just because growing up, I was never really one for sort of extracurricular activity, you know. Don't know why, just sort of just the nature of me. Although going along the years, like I've had more interest in it, so never say never. I can always join some.
Yeah, but you don't have to. Like, that's not saying like you have to join one.
Yeah.
It's just you don't have to join it as a requirement to support yourself. It's kind of just they're just examples of an outlet.
Yeah, I think as long as you have that sort of insight for yourself, as long as you have that awareness of when you're not feeling as good, and you can say that to yourself, and then once you kind of acknowledge it, you can then make action.
Like I say, it's a very, very big and broad topic, and we're never going to be able to fit everything into like a 30-minute segment and things like that. There's so many different aspects. Checking in on yourself, knowing what you want out of anything, and just kind of knowing where you can get support if you need it and want it. Like I said, like you've got the advice centre, but we operate on like an open doors, like the offices operate on an open door policy, and so we can always come in and have a chat, and we're happy to just sit and listen. Yeah. I mean, I am.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Yeah, and also just in general, just be kind to yourself, you know, and cut yourself some slack, because it's for some, it's a very brave thing to do, to come into a brand new environment and to just even socialising. That's a very big hurdle for some people. So even the act of getting yourself out there to do further education, to have like a new chapter in your life, is very big. So you should be proud of yourself. Yeah.
You're amazing. This does say you're amazing, everyone.
Yeah.
That concludes episode 3 of the podcast.
Yep.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you. It's been such a pleasure. And remember,
Hydrate.